friends, welcome back to a new video. Today we are talking about pull-ups. Every time I post a video of myself doing pull-ups either on YouTube or on Instagram, I get a ton of people asking me, Marissa, how did you build your pull-up strength? How did you get to being able to do 15 body weight pull-ups? Well, today we're gonna talk about all things pull-ups, how you can get stronger at pull-ups, how you can get your first pull-up, how you can increase your pull-up strength, just be able to do more pull-ups and feel like a total badass because you can do a bunch of pull-ups. Not gonna lie, I watched a ton of other people's videos on how to do pull-ups before I decided to make this video, and none of those videos covered Marissa's #1 pro tip for pull-up strength. So hopefully this will be helpful for you guys if you've watched like a ton of other videos and you're like, I'm still stuck, what do I do? I have a special little tip for you, which we'll get to later. The other stuff is important though too, so we're gonna cover everything. Before we get started, leave a comment down below and let me know how many pull-ups you can currently do and what your pull-up goal is. And if it's 0 for now, that's totally okay. We're gonna get you to being able to do at least 1 pull-up, hopefully more, but for now, let me know where you're at. Also, while you're down there, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, because why not? But before we get into the how-to, I want to briefly touch on the why. I want to sing the praises of the pull-up because it is such a phenomenal exercise. First and foremost, the pull-up is a compound exercise. A compound exercise is an exercise that uses multiple muscle groups and requires multiple joints to move throughout a rep. Some of the biggest benefits of focusing on compound exercises include getting the most bang for your buck. This is probably the biggest one. You use so many more muscles when you're doing a pull-up than you do a bicep curl, which is an isolation exercise. You can just hit a lot more all at once. Another big benefit of compound exercises is that they can improve intermuscular coordination because you're moving a bunch of different muscle groups through all 3 planes of motion, which can just improve how all of the muscles work together to produce and control force. And then lastly, they can improve movement efficiency because they teach the muscles how to coordinate the firing of motor units. This can help improve movement skills, dynamic balance, all sorts of other things. And then pull-ups are also great just because they target a ton of different muscles. You have the lats, the rhomboids, and the teres major, which contribute to pulling back and down. And then you have the brachialis, biceps, and brachioradialis, which contribute to elbow flexion or the pulling down of the arms. The lower traps contribute to scapular depression, and then you also target the rectus abdominis, which helps with core stabilization. Basically, pull-ups are a fantastic exercise no matter what your goals are, whether they be weight loss, because as a compound exercise, they're gonna burn more calories than like bicep curls, or building muscle because they target so many muscle groups, so they're really efficient at building a ton of different muscles at once. Or if you have performance goals, they enhance muscular coordination. Strength goals, obviously you can build a lot of strength doing pull-ups. Like, they're just a great exercise. I love pull-ups. Can you tell? Then again, I'm very partial to like all back exercises. I love training back. So hopefully you are all convinced that you should be doing pull-ups now, whether or not you were interested in doing them before. If not, I recommend, just give it a try. Now let's get into the actual how-to of building your pull-up strength to being able to do your first pull-up or just increase the number of pull-ups that you can do. And the first thing that I want to focus on is accessory exercises, basically exercises that aren't pull-ups that will help contribute to various components of the strength that you need to be able to do more pull-ups. So let's go through some of my absolute favorite exercises to incorporate into your routine if you are trying to strengthen your pull-up. So this first exercise is going to be a lat activation exercise. And this is really important because a lot of people don't connect their lats well, and your lats are one of the main movers in the pull-up. Being able to really strongly connect to your lats through the pull-up is gonna help you pull a lot more through your back rather than just through your arms as you're doing a pull-up. And your back is a much bigger, like you have a lot more muscles going on back here than you do here. So being able to connect to all of those muscles is really key. So for this exercise, you're gonna start bent over with your arms out in front of you. So you can bend over a bench. You can also do this in child's pose, anywhere where you're gonna be roughly in this position where you can kind of stretch through your back. So from here, you're gonna push your hands kind of gently into the ground or into the bench, whatever they're on, just kind of for feedback. And then you're gonna start with your arms fully extended. And then from here, all you're gonna do is pull your shoulders down and back. So this is all the movement that goes into the exercise. And you can think of it like you're pulling through your hands to shrug your shoulders down. And you should feel this activating your lats back through here. A cue that may help is thinking about rotating your elbows under as you're pulling your arms down. That's really gonna help kind of fire the lats as you're pulling. And it shouldn't feel like you're doing a ton of work. Like, this should not feel hard. The goal here should just be to feel your lats actually working. I would do about 10 to 20 reps of these. I use these every time that I go to the gym to do pull-ups. I use them as a warm-up to activate my lats. But if you don't have a good connection with your lats, then you could do like 10 reps every single day, or you could do like 3 sets of 10 on the days that you're working upper body. The more frequent you work on this, the better that connection is gonna get. The next exercise is a hollow body hang, which is very similar to a dead hang, but a little bit better and a little bit more specific for pull-ups. This is gonna be an exercise to work on if you have difficulty with your grip strength. This is one of the big reasons a lot of people fail at pull-ups. They just can't hang onto the bar very long. This will help improve that. It's also gonna help with lat engagement. It's gonna help with stability of your entire body throughout the pull-up. One of the biggest mistakes that you see people make doing pull-ups is their lower body just like flailing everywhere. Practicing the hollow body hang will kind of help prevent that. The more stability you have, the stronger you're gonna be. So you're gonna hop up on the bar and just kind of let your body hang, and then from here, to really get into the hollow body hold position, you're going to activate your lats. So do what we just did with the previous exercise, but actually engage them and pull your shoulders into their sockets. So you're pulling yourself up just a little bit, but not doing an actual pull-up. Then you're gonna activate your core with just a little bit of posterior pelvic tilt, basically the opposite of arching your back. And this is just to create a strong, straight line through your core. You're gonna keep your legs together kind of in a pike position, and you should kind of look a little bit like a banana. So you can do this exercise starting with 3 sets of 20 to 60 seconds, gradually working your way up to being able to do 3 sets of 60 seconds. This will help improve your grip strength and just your general stability throughout the movement. And if you have a pull-up bar at home, frequency will actually really help with this as well. So what you could do, instead of doing like 3 sets of 30 seconds, is 3 times a day or 5 times a day, just hang on to the bar for like 20 to 30 seconds. And the more you do it, the stronger you'll become very fast. This next exercise is the scapular pull-up, which is just building off of the previous exercises that we already covered and really building strength in shoulder retraction, which is the fundamental move of the pull-up. Working on this exercise and really getting strong in it is going to help you pull through your back instead of through your upper traps. When you start pulling through your upper traps, that's when you start getting pain when you're doing pull-ups, and it's not the right form, so you don't want to do that. So for this exercise, you're going to start in the extended hollow body hold position. So you're going to start with your shoulders extended, but your core still engaged and your legs together. And then you're just going to retract your scapula and extend, and retract and extend, and retract and extend. And so you're literally just doing like the first part of the pull-up, of getting your lats engaged and pulling through your back. And if you're working on strengthening this, I recommend doing about 3 sets of 5 to 15-ish reps, depending on what is challenging for you. All right, next up we have the dumbbell pullover, and this is also a great exercise to learn to activate your lats and build their strength. You can use this as an activation exercise to really learn to connect to your lats better, and you can also use it as a strength building and muscle building exercise. So you can go much lighter, do like 15 to 20 reps, or you can go a little bit heavier and do like 10 to 12 reps, depending on where you personally need the most gains. For me personally, adding in like 1 set of really light lat pullovers, doing like about 15 reps and getting a good like pump in my lats was a huge game changer when I first really started dedicating myself to wanting to be able to do more pull-ups. I would do like 15 reps with really light weight and then go straight into the pull-ups, and because I had just done the lat pullovers, my lats had a little bit of pump in them, so when I did the actual pull-ups, I could feel where my lats were and really just get that mind to muscle connection and really engage the lats in a really strong way. So for the pullover, you're gonna have the dumbbell in your hands, press it straight up over your chest, and then slowly lower it behind your head, feeling that stretch through your lats. So you should really feel a stretch happening like right through here. You're gonna stretch all the way back until it's just about at your head height, and then pull through your lats, so where you're feeling the stretch, to pull your arms back up. An important note here, your elbows should be tucked in, not flared out. The more you flare it out, the more it's gonna target your chest. The more you tuck your elbows in, you're gonna hit your lats a lot better. So stretch all the way out, feel that stretch through your back, and then pull through where you're feeling the stretch. That should get you some super solid lat activation, lat pump, lat strength going on before you get into your pull-ups. The next exercise is the inverted row, which is a big one when it just comes to developing just raw pull-up strength. This exercise strengthens all of the muscles involved in scapular retraction, which is part of the pull-up, while also being a compound movement that forces your body to engage numerous muscles at once while you perform a pulling motion. So this exercise is much less about activation and learning the basics of the movement and much more just about building that strength in those muscles. So from under the bar, you're gonna grab the bar with your hands a little wider than shoulder width, pull your hips up to be in a straight line, kind of like an inverted plank, so that your body is just in a straight line, and then you're going to pull your chest up to the bar and then slowly lower back down. You can make this exercise easier by moving the bar up or harder by moving the bar down and or elevating your feet. Basically, the more parallel your body is to the ground, the harder it's gonna be. And this is an exercise that you're gonna wanna do more in the strength to hypertrophy range, so about 3 to 4 sets, 5 to 15 reps, depending on how you decide to program it in. The next exercise I recommend incorporating is the lat pull down, because it is essentially the same thing as a pull up. You are just pulling the bar down instead of pulling yourself up. So it's gonna be pretty darn good at mimicking the motion and also helping you build strength in that motion without having to do an actual pull up if you can't do a pull up yet. So for this, you're gonna wanna make sure that you retract your scapula like you would with a pull up, and then pull the bar straight down to your chest. Don't do a big backward lean and turn it into essentially an inverted row. I see people doing this in the gym all the time. They just like lean all the way backwards and then pull the bar down to their chest. You don't want to do that. You want to try to mimic the direction of the pull-up as much as possible. Training this movement is also really helpful because a really good cue for pull-ups is to think about pulling the bar down to your chest rather than thinking about pulling your body up. So the lat pull down demonstrates that very well. This is also an exercise that's a lot less about activation and a lot more about just building pull-up strength. So again, you're gonna wanna focus more on the strength to hypertrophy-ish range, 3 to 6 sets, 3 to 15-ish reps, depending again on how you want to program it in. All right, this last exercise is the pull-up negative. So you're essentially doing the second half of the pull-up. This is great for strengthening the eccentric part of the pull-up rather than the concentric part, which is the pulling up part of the pull-up. But the strength from the eccentric part to the concentric part translates. So if you get stronger at the eccentric part, you will also get stronger at the concentric part. So for this, you're gonna start basically at the bar. The higher you can start, kind of the better, so that you don't have to jump, but this is as tall as I can get for this bar. So we're starting here. You're gonna make sure you have a good grip and then jump up so that you're starting at the very tippy top of the rep. Make sure you get in that hollow body hold position and then slowly lower yourself down, doing the opposite of pulling up. And then you're just gonna stop there, get back on your little step stool, shake your hands out, because honestly this bar is really hard to hold on to. It hurts really bad. And you do it again. Jump up and hollow body, slowly lower back down. The objective here is to lower yourself as slowly as possible. The slower you can do it, the stronger you're going to get. So for now, your negative looks like this, where you're starting here and then you kind of just have to lower that quickly. That's okay. You're gonna want to just work your way up to being able to be very, very controlled and slow throughout the whole movement. So those are the main like staple exercises that I recommend incorporating in order to build your pull-up strength. And you can pick and choose from those as you see fit. So like if you have really good connection to your lats and know that like you can just like stand here and like flex your lats, then maybe you don't need to focus as much on like the activation exercises. Maybe you just want to really focus on like lat pull downs and inverted rows. Or if you know your grip strength isn't so great, maybe focus on doing more like just hollow body holds and just hanging there as long as you can to like work on your grip strength. Whatever is most challenging for you, you're gonna benefit most from doing more of. So let's put this all together with actually adding in pull-ups and figuring out how to structure your training to maximize the speed at which you will improve your pull-up strength. First things first, you do wanna make sure that when you are doing an actual pull-up, whether it be assisted, banded, or regular pull-ups or weighted pull-ups, make sure your form is good. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that go into good pull-up form and technique. I am not going to address that in this video because I actually have some structural imbalances in my spine that make doing a perfect pull-up very challenging, and I don't want to demonstrate a crooked pull-up for you guys. I'm working on fixing my imbalances to the best of my abilities, but my spine is actually a little bit crooked, so there's some stuff that I just can't work around. So I recommend going and watching other people's videos that have more symmetrical bodies. So now it is time for Marissa's pro tip at how to actually improve your pull-up strength. And the key Like the biggest thing that helped me personally and has helped a lot of my clients in not only pull-ups, but like pretty much every other area is phasing your workout programming. A lot of programs that you see for pull-up strength go into progressive overload, like adding more reps, adding more weight, adding more sets, but you don't see a lot that actually phase the training. And I think this is where a lot of people lose out on efficiency and efficacy in their pull-up programming. Here's the thing, phasing your training is key for building strength in any exercise. This is not unique to pull-ups. You can't just keep trying to force progressive overload, because what happens when you train is at first with a new stimulus, your body will break the muscle down when you're in the gym because it tears because it's heavy weight, and then your body will rebuild the muscle bigger and stronger because it's like, okay, like we need to be able to adapt to this stimulus, so let's get bigger and stronger to be able to do it. And your body will do that for a while, but after a while your body gets better and better at adapting to that stimulus, and so you start only repairing rather than building extra. And this is where you end up plateauing. So this is where phasing comes in to prevent the plateaus, and you can keep making strength gains. So how do you phase your training? Every 3 to 6 weeks, you want to change up the style / goal of your workout programming. It takes the body usually about 3 to 6 weeks to start really adapting to a new stimulus, and you want to make sure you're changing your phasing right before your body starts to adapt, so you can kind of have that continual growth curve. The more you've been doing it, the quicker your body will adapt. So if you've been working on pull-ups for like a while, you might want to change phasing every 3 to 4 weeks, but if this is all very new to you, then you might be able to keep seeing progress up to like 6 weeks, and then maybe change around there. So like I said, phasing does apply to kind of everything that you want to make progress in, but let's take a look specifically at how to apply it to pull-ups, because that's what this video is about. So you're gonna want to rotate every 3 to 6 weeks through about 3 phases. You could probably cut it down to 2, but I recommend doing all 3. And these 3 phases are going to be lighter weight with more reps and more of a focus on learning the activation, improving your grip strength and stuff like that. If that's something that you need to focus on, then you're going to have a more moderate weight, moderate rep range where you're doing about 8-12 reps, so more the hypertrophy range. And you're gonna have a strength phase where you're gonna have much heavier weight, more resistance with fewer reps. So there's obviously a lot of different ways that you could apply phasing to progressing your pull-ups, but I'm gonna go through kind of my general outline templates that I would recommend as like a general recommendation. So I recommend starting with phase 1 being much lighter weight, higher rep, and focus on the overall activation and building the technique. So in addition to including 1 or 2 of the accessory exercises that I recommended, maybe again, if you have trouble activating your lats, you want to do the lat activation, and then maybe you want to throw in lat pull down. So in addition to those 2, you're going to want to also do pull-ups, but you should do these in a way that creates the lightest amount of resistance that you can, where you can do about 15-ish reps. For most people, this is gonna look like doing assisted pull-ups using the machine at the gym and just putting a ton of weight on the stack so that you have very little resistance, so that you can get through 15 reps without too much trouble. Or you can do banded pull-ups, so basically the same thing, just assisted pull-ups, but with a resistance band. Again, with a heavy enough band that 15 pull-ups is not too challenging. It should be challenging, but you should be able to get through it, feel good, and feel like you're really fully connected to the whole movement as you go through every single rep. Or you can even do pull-up negatives for this phase, so like 12 to 20 negatives in a row. The goal with this phase will be to go light, really focus on form, technique, activation, make sure everything is just flowing, feels good with the pull-up. And the feeling that you should be aiming for in this phase is getting like a pump to the muscle. So doing between 12 to 20 reps, you're gonna feel a lot more blood flowing to the muscle. This is the pump. And so you should really be feeling those muscles kind of lighting up, in the sense that there will be more blood flow there and you will feel the pump. Now, phase 2 versus phase 3 could be switched, but what I'm gonna recommend is what I have personally noticed the most benefit from doing, like in this order, and also noticed a little bit more benefit in doing this order for my clients. So phase 2 is going to be a heavy strength phase. This is where we're gonna make the pull-ups and any accessory work that you're doing as hard as possible, to where you can only do like 1 to 5 reps of whatever you're doing. So this might still mean that you need to do assisted pull-ups or resistance band pull-ups, but just with a lot less weight on the stack, or a much lighter resistance band, so that you are struggling after like 3 reps. If you can do like 2 to 3 bodyweight pull-ups, this is a great time to do bodyweight pull-ups. And if you can already do 5+ pull-ups, this is where you want to add weight to your pull-ups. This is where I think things get fun. This is where I have had the most fun with my pull-ups, is adding weight to my pull-ups. So in this phase, you're gonna for sure wanna be doing one variation of a pull-up, whether it be assisted resistance band, body weight, or weighted pull-ups, and doing that with the heaviest amount of resistance possible, even if that means assisted. And then again, you might want to throw in one or two of the accessory lifts. So I definitely recommend throwing in either the inverted rows or the lat pull downs. The inverted rows may be a little bit better of a complement here because they aren't the exact motion of the pull-up, and so it might complement it a little bit better. So I would maybe do like heavy inverted rows and heavy pull-ups. And then you could throw in like a set of lat pullovers before you do your pull-ups to activate your lats, like whatever feels good for you here. And in this phase, you're gonna wanna do 1 to 5 reps for 4 to 6 sets, and make sure you're resting like 2 to up to 5 minutes in between sets. You might literally just do 2 reps of pull-ups with like a 10-pound dumbbell and then rest for 5 minutes, and then do that again, and then rest for 5 minutes and do that again until you get to 4 to 6 sets. That's okay. You are going to make so much progress doing that. This is where a lot of people feel resistance to this kind of phasing, and why people don't get a lot of the benefits of the phasing is because if you do that, you may only do like 8 reps of pull-ups in like 25 minutes. So it feels like you're not working hard because you're not doing a lot of work, because you're not doing a lot of reps, but like, trust me. And then from there, you're gonna go into phase 3, which is gonna be more in the hypertrophy range. So 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. This is gonna be more moderate weight. So whatever resistance or assistance you need to be able to use to do about 8 to 12 reps of pull-ups plus whatever accessory work you decide to throw in. So again, this might be body weight pull-ups. If you can do like 8 body weight pull-ups, go ahead and do that. Or you might need to add a little bit of assistance with the machine or add a resistance band. The rest time for this kind of phase should be about 60 to 90 seconds. So that's kind of how the structure of the phases should look. One important note is that you should still be progressively overloading within the phase. So every week you should be trying to add like a little bit of weight, or like decreasing the assistance a little bit, or add like 1 rep, add 1 set, whatever feels good. Obviously don't like push yourself if you aren't feeling particularly strong that day, but overall you should be aiming to progressively overload within your phases. I have a whole video on how to apply progressive overload. I will link that down in the description box below because that's a whole other discussion. But it's working within phases that helped me go from being able to do 8 body weight pull-ups to being able to do 15 body weight pull-ups. And it wasn't while I was doing body weight pull-ups that I made that progression. It was while I was in the other phases. At the beginning of this year, when I did my reverse diet, one of my goals was to increase my pull-up strength. And I think when I started at the beginning of this year, I was at maybe like 8 body weight pull-ups, maybe 10 body weight pull-ups on like a really good day. And then I went and I did a strength phase where I only did like 3, max 4 reps of pull-ups, but I added weight. I worked my way up from doing, I think, weighted pull-ups with like a 20-pound dumbbell up to being able to do 1 and like 3/4 of a rep of a pull-up with a 45-pound plate. I didn't do a lot of pull-ups with plates. That was mostly for fun. I kind of worked my way up from doing like 20 pounds to 25 pounds to 30 pounds to 35 pounds. And that's kind of where I was feeling good. The 45 was probably pushing it a smidge. When I switched back to a hypertrophy phase and went to doing just body weight pull-ups, I think I could initially do like 12 or 13, and then within a week or 2, I was up to 15. So I made most of my progress with body weight pull-up count while doing non-body weight pull-ups. I had never before been able to break that plateau of doing like 8 to 10 pull-ups until I completely shifted focus, shifted to just doing raw strength training with as much weight as I physically could, and then going back to body weight / like hypertrophy range, and suddenly I was able to make a ton more progress. This is the magic of phasing, and why you should be doing it for like literally everything, but why it can be so transformative also for pull-ups. So to give you guys a more concrete idea of how this programming might look with like exercise, reps, sets, I want to walk you through one example that someone could follow to build their pull-up strength. But I want to make it very clear that obviously pull-up strength is very individual. Some of you might be able to do 5 bodyweight pull-ups, some of you might not be able to do 1, in which case you're going to have to switch the exercise based on your strength. So if I say do weighted pull-ups and you can't even do one body weight pull-up, then maybe like do an assisted pull-up, but just make it just as heavy to fit in the rep and set range. The rep and set range is what's more important here rather than whether you're doing like weighted or assisted. Like it's all basically the same. It's just your level of strength. So phase 1 could be pull-up negatives, 3 to 4 sets, 15 reps. Then lat pull downs, 3 to 4 sets, 15 reps. And then if you're struggling with grip strength, maybe you could do dumbbell holds. So like literally just holding a dumbbell down by your side, 3 sets of 60 seconds. So you'll do that phase for about 3 to 6 weeks and switch as soon as you start feeling like you are about to plateau. And then you'll go into phase 2, a strength phase, where you will do weighted pull-ups for 4 to 6 sets, 1 to 5 reps, and then inverted rows for 4 to 6 sets, 4 to 5 reps. Again, after 3 to 6 weeks, or when you start to hit a plateau, you're gonna switch to phase 3, which is gonna be more hypertrophy focused, where you'll do maybe assisted pull-ups for 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps, and lat pull downs for 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. And then you can just continue to cycle through that. And within each phase, you should be able to progressively overload, and you will gradually overload and get stronger and stronger and be able to do all the pull-ups. So again, to emphasize, this should be relatively individualized based on how strong you are. Again, there's a huge variation in strength for pull-ups, and so you wanna make sure you are doing the exercises that fit your strength level within the phase. And that's it. That is my secret for how I have been able to get up to 15 bodyweight pull-ups and a 45-pound weighted pull-up, and this should work for everyone. I guess the last actual big thing that I probably should have mentioned even earlier, but it just popped into my head, is if you're not eating enough, it's gonna be really hard to get stronger. I could have a whole other video rambling about how important it is to eat, not only for strength goals, but also for aesthetic goals. Like if you want to look lean and toned, you also need to build some muscle. And to build some muscle, you need to eat. Do not be afraid of food. Food is the fuel that you need to get to your goals. It is not the enemy. Again, this could be a whole other rant, so I will reel it back in and just say that if you really want to double down on strength goals, you should be actively eating in a calorie surplus. If you are trying to eat in a calorie deficit and build your pull-up strength, you're making it a lot harder on yourself. That's Marissa's other secret tip that literally no one talks about in their pull-up videos, is to eat food, carbs, protein, enough calories. And I think that is about all that I have for you guys today. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it helps some of you get your first pull-up or get you to whatever your pull-up goals may be. Please feel free to come back to this video in a few months and let me know how it's going for you. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does support me and my channel. I really genuinely appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. If you want to see more content from me all about health and fitness, you can check it out over here. To see future videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I will see you very soon. Bye.